Can AI be so concerned about protecting your information that it actually prevents you from fixing the problem? I lost almost an entire day recently finding out that the answer is yes. Stay with me, because at the end, I'm going to give you one question I think developers should ask when AI troubleshooting starts going around in circles, and it could save you hours of wasted time and tokens. I was using AI to troubleshoot a login page. Something wasn't working. Normally, this is exactly the kind of problem AI can be incredibly good at solving. Look at the code, look at the error, trace what's happening, find the problem, fix it. Except this time, we went around and around and around. Try this. Didn't work. Change that. Didn't work. Add some logging. Still don't know. Try another approach. Same problem. And every trip around that circle was consuming more time and more tokens. Eventually, I realized something. The AI wasn't showing me some of the information I actually needed to diagnose the problem, and I understand why. We're dealing with a login system. There could be passwords, credentials, session information, database values, potentially sensitive information. An AI that's been designed to think about security sees all of that and says, we shouldn't expose this, which sounds completely reasonable, except I'm the developer. I'm in a controlled development environment. I'm specifically trying to troubleshoot the authentication system. Some of the information being concealed was the information I needed to determine what was wrong. So the AI was simultaneously trying to solve the problem and preventing itself from seeing enough of the problem to solve it. That's an interesting conflict. And I think we're going to encounter more of this as AI becomes deeply involved in software development. Because AI doesn't always understand context the same way an experienced developer does. There's a big difference between saying, put everyone's passwords in the error log on the production website. Obviously, don't do that. And saying, in this controlled development environment, I need enough diagnostic information to determine why this test account isn't authenticating. Those aren't the same request. But if the AI treats them as though they are, you can end up troubleshooting blind. And blind troubleshooting gets expensive, not just financially. It costs tokens, it costs time. It creates unnecessary code changes. And perhaps worst of all, it can send you down completely irrelevant paths because neither you nor the AI can see the information that would have eliminated those possibilities immediately. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting turning security off, and I'm definitely not suggesting exposing real passwords, API keys, customer information, or production credentials just because troubleshooting would be easier. That's not the lesson. The lesson is that security and observability have to coexist. You need enough protection to keep sensitive information safe and enough visibility to understand what your software is actually doing. Here's the question I promised you. When AI troubleshooting starts repeating itself, stop and ask, are we missing the answer because we're protecting information that could be safely inspected another way? Maybe you don't need the actual password. Maybe you need to know whether the password comparison succeeded. Maybe you don't need the API key. Maybe you need the response code. Maybe you don't need the session contents. Maybe you need to know whether a particular session value exists. Maybe you don't need sensitive data at all. You just need a safe diagnostic signal that tells you what's happening. That's the distinction, because good security shouldn't require you to troubleshoot in the dark. And good AI development shouldn't mean burning through thousands of tokens while the AI keeps guessing at something you could have diagnosed in 5 minutes. If you'd been looking at the right information, AI can be incredibly good at troubleshooting, but sometimes, before asking it for another solution, you need to make sure you've actually given it a way to see the problem. Thanks for joining me. I'm your Santa Barbara web guy, and I'll see you next time.